Welcome to Design Unscripted, where thoughtful design meets effortless living. I'm Manuella Moreira, here to inspire you to create a home that's both beautiful and uniquely yours. In this week's episode, we're diving into the world of organization, from creating systems that actually work to understanding the emotional blocks behind clutter. My guest is Isabelle Wood, founder of Organizing Engineers. With a background in mechanical engineering and a deep passion for functional design, Isabelle brings a highly analytical yet compassionate approach to organizing homes and workspaces. She's helped countless clients, from busy professionals to overwhelmed families, transform chaotic spaces into calm, intentional environments. Today, she's sharing her process, the most overlooked spaces in the home, and why organization is less about perfection and more about peace of mind. Let's get started. Isabelle, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Manuela. I'm very excited about this.
I truly believe that great design isn't just about what we see in a space, it's about how we live. And your approach to organizing brings such an elevated and thoughtful layer to it. Can you tell us what your philosophy is? Is it about minimalism? Is it about aesthetics?
So we truly believe on the function and the aesthetics of organizing. When you think about organizing, sometimes function of it is, very important because you want to make something that is going to work for you and it's going to be functional and it's going to be easy to follow. But for us at Organizing Engineers, we also truly believe on the aesthetics part of it. That's because, everyone loves pretty things. And when we make something that is both functional and aesthetic pleasing, people will feel more motivated to keep it that way. I felt like that when I was organizing my own place, and when I started doing this for my clients, I immediately saw how people were reacting to having something not only organized, but also like something they were really proud of it, and they were motivated to keep that way because they will always want to have that feeling of like, okay, I know where everything is, and it looks really good this way. So they're just more motivated to keep that way. So
that's a good point.
Combining the function, like the form and the function of it.
As a designer, I really appreciate that. And your point is so valid. Like when you're proud of something, you tend to take care of it more. I love that. And so often when I go see a new project, I mean, a lot of the times, we'll bring you in, but we'll say to the client, a big part of changing a space is decluttering, right? Because you see that a lot. You get calls from people who probably have a lot that they need to get rid of that they haven't in a long time. And how do emotions play a role in clutter? Like, how do you help your clients get over the guilt of letting something go?
I believe that clutter is postponed decisions. And we're postponing these decisions because they're hard. Everyone struggles with it. I struggled, for some people it's easier. Like for me, it's easy to declutter. I love decluttering. But still, there are things that are hard because there's a lot of sentimental things behind it, and they're just hard to make. So one of the reasons is guilt, is sentimental attachment, it's fear. And the way we help with that is asking questions to our clients. And those questions is not because I want to hear the answer, honestly, it's because I want them to hear themselves saying those answers so that they can start thinking, is this a good reason to keep this? It just makes you think a little bit further when you say it out loud. And then depending on their priorities, then they can decide, okay, maybe that reason is not too big of a reason to keep this item and keep making my space disorganized or cluttered because of those reasons that I just said out loud. So really just asking those follow-up questions. So it's really nice to have maybe, a professional or just a friend, a partner helping you with those questions, because you really need to hear yourself saying those answers so that you can make a decision. That will help you. And that's how we normally work around the sentimental part of it.
That's such a good approach, because when you say it out loud, it's much more meaningful. So to you, it might mean, oh, I actually don't need this. or why have I been keeping this so long, and or it changes meaning. So
Yeah.
that's a great approach.
It's very fun actually because,
You find it fun?
I do. I know for example, my clients are dreading at first, but then it just becomes something so natural after they get in the groove of it. As they are saying it, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just heard that. That doesn't make any sense. You can chuck that." Just becomes something that maybe in the beginning it's hard, but then it becomes easy for them. And it's just fun to hear them talking to themselves. Because again, I'm there just to ask those questions. It's not because I want to hear the answers, it's because I want them to hear themselves.
I think it's a great approach. Like, how did you actually learn to have that approach? Was that your own approach to things? Have you always been organized? And is this what made you take the same approach with clients, or is it just experience?
In the beginning, of course, like when we're learning the profession, we go through the methodology of organizing and we have the steps by steps. And then when I started organizing, we would always have the decluttering and the clients would be going through item by item. And then I would be asked one question. It's also a one-on-one thing, and you have to have the feeling with your client to know what type of sentiment is behind their clutter. So just by asking questions and by working with multiple types of personality helped me with inventory of questions to ask. And just like personal experience too, like with my husband, for example, he was not organized before we started living together. And he was not, "Oh, everything is fine. I don't want it organized. I have a good amount of stuff. I don't need to declutter."
And that wasn't a deal breaker for you.
I knew I had work to do. Took me a couple of years and just working little by little. Now he's like someone that is going to ask me, "Hey, you that I need new summer clothes, but I want to declutter first. Can you help me with that?" And I was like, "Oh my
wow.
I made it in my profession," because he was so hesitant at first. And now he's the one who's looking for it. Maybe working with him and just a personal experience and then working with multiple personalities helped me realize the types of questions is going to help them in their decluttering process.
I've had the opportunity to work with you, and it was life-changing. We met a few years ago and you helped me organize my sample room for my design business, which I take a lot of pride in keeping my space organized. But when it came to my sample room, because I have thousands of samples and it was always so busy going to an appointment, leaving, coming back, and just basically changing what bags I was going to take. And then at the end of the day, I was just exhausted to organize. And you were such an angel. You changed.
It was a fun project.
Define fun. So anyways, your approach to organizing my space was life-changing for me. And I know it does the same to everyone that you work with. So can you walk us through your process? What happened first and then what follows that?
So it's basically a 6-step process. The first one would be removing everything from the space. So let's say you're organizing a closet or a cabinet. The first step would be removing the contents of that space. And while you're at it, it's always good to give it a good clean so that you can start with a clean slate. After you have removed everything, you can then start categorizing. For that step, you're really just sorting the items into category. Once you have done that, then you're going to be decluttering. The step of removing and categorizing is actually going to help you making smarter decisions when you're decluttering. It helps to see the objects out of their original space. When you see an object that has been in your closet for 10 years, it's almost like it's part of that closet, and then you're less willing to remove it. So really having it out of the original space and categorize is going to help you. Let's say you're organizing a kitchen and then you start organizing your cooking utensils, and then you categorized all of them and you can see that you have 5 tongs. Then you can ask that happens.
I'm laughing because it happens all the time with everything.
Yes, I'm sure you're thinking of something that you have at home that you have too many of the same repeated item.
I have 5 pizza cutters.
There we go. How many pizzas are you cutting at one time that you need 5?
I haven't eaten pizza in months.
Yes. So here's where those questions come very handy, because you're going to be asking yourself, how many pizza cutters do you need at one time? Not 5. Unless you're In an industrial kitchen, your catering business, you're not needing that many. Seeing all of them together is going to make you realize, okay, I do have way too many pizza critters. I can make it down to 2 because that's how many I would need in pizza party. I don't know. Have the tap of removing categorize is going to help you declutter. Once your decluttering is done, the 4th step would be containing and finding the items home for them. That's another mistake people do all the time, is that they want to skip the remove, the categorize, and the declutter, and they go straight to buying, organizing products. What happens is that they end up just adding more clutter because they're adding more objects to that space. Those objects are not really helping them, and it's actually just organizing clutter. We don't call that organizing. So that's why we really follow the steps between removing, categorize, decluttering, and then containing and finding homes for these objects. Once you have done that last step, then you're going to label everything. I like labeling spaces, especially the ones that you have multiple people using. So let's say your kitchen, if you have, a partner, kids, even like staff, like babysitters or housekeepers, if they're using the space, everything is labeled. It's going to help everyone to know where items should go after they have used them. That also helps taking the mental work or like the responsibility of knowing where everything is from yourself, especially if you live in a household with like multiple people. It often relies into one person to know where everything goes, and then it's always just the work of one person as opposed to having everyone.
And there's no excuses. No one can say, oh, I didn't know where that goes, so I will just leave it here.
Yeah. Everything's labeled now. So yeah, definitely no excuse. And you can use that as a point.
Accountability. Yeah.
Yeah. And after everything's labeled, it's not a step of the actually getting organized and getting the system, but it's actually to keep you organized after. The last step would be maintain, keeping up with those systems, putting things back where you designated a home for them. It's telling everyone in your house, these items go here now, and doing the regular declutter and making sure everything that is in that spot is the things that you actually still need. So that will help you sustain the system that you created before in the long run, and then things are not just going to be falling apart after 2 weeks.
Great approach. And do you have the same system for kitchens, closets? Does it pretty much apply to everything, or do you take a different approach when it comes to some other spaces?
It all relies into creating a system that is functional and works for your lifestyle. Because let's say if it's a household of only one person, or it's a couple, as opposed to a household where you have 3 kids and you have more people living with you, their needs are very different from that first scenario. The goal is always just to find something that's going to work for your lifestyle. For me, for example, that I work with multiple types of household and families, we never use the same system throughout all of the spaces. We're really just making something that's going to work for them based on the lifestyle that they have. So it's about creating something that is tailored to yourself, that follows the flow of your routine, your daily life. And I also really like having the objects where you need them. And that's really going to depend on your routine and what you need. And that's for everyone.
Accessibility, so important. If something is either hard to put away or hard to find, that's going to make it harder to be able to maintain that organized space. So what's the biggest organizing dilemma?
Letting go of things. Like we have been talking, it's really the decluttering. Everyone I meet, it's either a client or it's just someone that I'm talking about what I do professionally. And the first thing they tell me is, oh, I really wanted to get organized, but I can get rid of stuff and it's really hard for me. So really the decluttering is like the biggest roadblock that gets between people getting organized.
Do you feel like it's hard for some people to let go and it slows down the process?
Yes, for sure. For everyone, it's going to get to a point where depending on what you're dealing with, it's going to be really hard. If it's keepsakes or something that resonates to yourself, but it's going to depend on your personality, how you feel. I have clients that are like, okay, trash. And then there's others that it really helps them telling me the story behind that object, how they got it, why they kept it. So it's really unique to anyone who is doing it. So it depends.
Right. And I'm sure once they start to see how the space evolves and how it feels after you start in a smaller area, then they'll feel more comfortable about letting something go because then they're already seeing the results and what impact that can have in a space.
For sure. And I feel that it happens very often where they start decluttering. That makes them anxious. It's really hard for them. And then the second session, they're faster and they're less anxious and they're really enjoying the process a little bit more. And one really good tip for that is if you're decluttering by yourself, start with something that you're not very attached to. So you can start with like a category I really don't care about, let's say tools. I hardly use them. I have a handy person coming to help me every time. So I don't need this many tools. So like you can start with something that is easy for you. And that's going to make you get into that mood of decluttering. And it's okay to declutter and it's okay to get rid of things. Once you get to the harder stuff that you really attach to, you are just like a little bit more prepared for that.
Now, what about a junk drawer? Is that something that everybody has, that everybody tries to get rid of and they can't? Because I always try to clean out everything that I have. And then I'm like, well, I might need this, I don't know, this random charger that I don't even know what it's for, or this flashlight that I haven't turned on since I bought it.
Yeah. Everyone has junk drawers. Some people have junk cabinets. I've seen it all. Once you have organized your entire home, you might find spaces and homes for these objects that make more sense. So let's say if it's like a tool, maybe you have like more tools somewhere else. And once you know, like, okay, this is the home for tools, then you don't need that tool in your junk drawer. But often I see that every home's still gonna have the one drawer with like miscellaneous items, usually in your kitchen or in your entryway, because you're actually needing those objects often. So we always have a drawer with batteries, scissors, stationery, and things like that. It's because like you're using those objects and usually using, like in your kitchen or on the go. The goal is not to get rid of that drawer. It's really like if there's an item that could have a better home, it will go to that home. But if it's an item that you need accessible and easy, it's going to live in that drawer, and that's going to be your miscellaneous drawer. We don't need to call it
miscellaneous drawer. I love
it's
that.
a miscellaneous drawer. It's a little bit more organized.
Okay, I'm gonna organize mine and I'm gonna label it miscellaneous drawer and I'm gonna send you a
Yes.
picture. Okay. Because I've felt guilty about mine for a very long time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why am I doing this to myself? So now, what's one space that people always overlook and you feel like desperately needs attention and it needs to be organized?
I would say the mudroom or entryway. And that's usually because it's not a place where you hang out. You're just using it on the go and then when you're coming back. So because you're not there all the time and it's a place where it's rapidly moving, you're not spending a lot of time there. Things are just being dropped off or picked up. So it's a place where people don't really prioritize. But actually, if you do, and if you have a good system for that place, it's going to help you in your daily life because you're still using that space all the time. By creating a system that is serving your routine and your own lifestyle and what you need by your entryway, by having that, it's going to help you getting out of the home quicker or not cluttering your home when you're coming in with a package and coats and accessories and things like that. That's also often the first impression of your home.
That's
and you
true.
want to make sure you don't want to feel
That's true.
stressed as soon as you walk into your home. You want that place to feel calm and be serving you a purpose rather than just being a place that is stressing you.
That's true. So what would you say are 3 key things that people can do to their mudroom to help organize it better?
Nowadays, I feel that it's having a designated spot for returns and packages because people get a lot of packages nowadays, and just having like a home for that, it will help the space feel better. I love a catch-all tray where you put, those miscellaneous items like the keys or headphones, things that you not always leaving in a purse or anything like that. You just need like a spot for it so that when you do need it, it's going to be there. And if you have a catch-all tray, it's going to be contained. So it's not going to look like, oh, I just put anything anywhere. It's going to be a little bit more organized that way. The third one would be spot for your accessories. So let's say I'm Northeast and we need winter accessories. So hats, gloves, scarves. Usually those you're wearing more on the go. You're not wearing inside your home. So we tend to not keep it inside your closet. We keep it more like close to the door so that you can grab and go. During the summer, it could be hats, sunglasses. If you have kids, like sunscreen that helps too, like bug spray and things like that. So a designated home for accessories and on-the-go things.
Makes such a difference. I mean, often we're running out of the house where we might be running late to something and it's, where are my keys? Where are my glasses? And the spot for outgoing mail and returns. That makes a lot of sense.
Our homes, they have not been designed to support the way we consume things nowadays. You have way more recycling because you have all that packaging and you have all those packages coming inside. So it's really nice to have a home for that.
Yeah, that's great. So we always talk about how it is overwhelming, right? Because you might be living with so many things that you haven't been able to get rid of or donate. People just don't know where to start. So what can our listeners do? What's one thing that they could do that would instantly improve their space, and something that would hopefully motivate them to keep going and do more and expand it into other spaces in the home?
Again, I love decluttering. I think that if you declutter, even though you're not like doing like a full organizing, labeling, containing and everything, if you do decluttering, it's already gonna help you feel a little bit more at ease. I would say you can start with the no-brainer things. So let's say you're in a closet, you're organizing you want to declutter your closet. You can start with like the dry cleaning hangers, dry cleaning plastic, empty shoe boxes. So these are all like no-brainer things. Like, you don't need that. It doesn't need to be in your closet. You can just go directly to the trash. So anything that is like trash and it's not going to be hard for you to make that decision, you can start there because it might be making already like a big difference for you. And then that again like comes back to the starting with like the easiest things so that you can like get a little bit more prepared when you have to really declutter the harder stuff.
So getting rid of really a lot of it's unnecessary, but really just trash that somehow we tend to collect. It's that box for that iPhone that you don't even own anymore, that you think somehow you're going to need it in 10 years. Anyways, that is a very, very good suggestion, because when I asked the audience what they wanted to know more, a lot of it was just, I don't know where to start. That's a great approach. So what are some habits that people can establish in order to be able to maintain a well-organized space?
Well, listen to this very carefully. Don't put it down, put it away. It's my mantra. Don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away. You can tell yourself that as many times as you need. That's something that I didn't grow up with, and I learned it. It's a habit you can create. It's going to take a while, but at some point, you're not going to be, like telling yourself that. You're just going to be doing it because it became a habit. But at first, you can just like try to repeat to yourself. Don't put it down, put it away. And of course, if you already have an established system, you know where you're going to put it away. And it's going to be even easier.
I love that so much, and I'm going to think of you every day. Don't put it down, put it away. Now, we've talked about multiple times just getting rid of things, but are there specific tools you think might be helpful for people to actually help them maintain the organization system?
I would say if I could choose one tool, it would be a label maker. It's really going to help zoning those areas, like junk drawer items can go live into that one miscellaneous drawer now. So really like having those labels, a label maker can help you with that. If you're organizing paper, label maker also helps you like organizing those folders. I would say if I were to choose a second thing, it's like very easy fix that you can use is like matching hangers. If you have all of your hangers matching, it's gonna really decrease that visual clutter in your closets. It could be in your entryway closet, it could be in your own closet. It really like helps having things look at least like a little bit more in order.
That's great. It keeps everything much more uniform. Yeah. I also feel like it helps to fit things better if everything is the same size rather than
Definitely.
having different size hangers and something's hanging differently. Yeah.
Definitely. Like one is like shorter, the other one is higher. The other thing that having the hangers not like unmatched, it's when you're pulling something out, something gets snug into another hanger because it was like a little bit higher, and it's just like it's like a snowballing of things that are like making it harder for you to put the hanger away or taking it out of the rod.
Label maker and matching hangers.
Yes.
I love that. You've been very generous with your time. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, I do have some fun rapid fire questions for you. Just say the very first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
What is the weirdest thing or place you've ever organized?
Adult toys. A lot of them. Like a lot.
Define a lot.
Like 2 full bags of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
We had to find homes for that. I mean, very common, no judgment, more common than you think.
Talk about being intimate. I won't even ask what your approach is to that because it's a whole other episode. Probably not for this show, but what's one space that you'd be happy organizing forever?
Nurseries.
Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. That's very sweet. And lastly, what's your biggest organizing pet peeve?
Like product labels, like product stickers.
Oh, yeah. Why are they so hard to get off?
They look ugly because you don't want your space to look like a store, but then to take them off is just so hard.
Yeah. Do you have a trick to get them off of things?
Yes.
Because they're impossible.
So at home, what you can do is use a hair dryer and just like really get that glue a little bit heat up. And then you use like a scraper or like a knife to try to remove that sticker as a whole. When we go into clients, we use a heat gun, which is stronger than a hair dryer, so we can get that done a little bit quicker. And then if there's still some glue on the product, we use, like the adhesive removers, like glue gun.
A heat gun and glue gun. Great tips. And lastly, before we let you go, we ask all of our guests, what does home mean to you?
Home to me means a place that you can feel at peace and calm.
Peace and calm. Amazing. And what better way to do that than being organized?
Exactly. Or have a beautiful design.
That is great.
Yeah,
thank you
really
so much. And how can people connect with you? Where can people find you?
Website is organizingengineers.com, or you can find us on Instagram, and we post a lot of fun things, more tips, and a lot of before and afters from our projects. Our Instagram is organizing.engineers.
And I have to say, you have one of the most beautiful and most well-organized Instagram feeds that I just love going to just to make myself feel better. So everyone, go check it out. Isabelle, thank you so much for being here. You've been great fun, and we hope you come back.
This was so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Design Unscripted. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave us a review. It would mean the world to me. And whether you're listening or watching, thank you so much for being here. See you next time.